Belina mai kako. Welcome to Keep It Aloha, a podcast that keeps it aloha by wishing you all a very happy new year. I'm your host Kamaka and welcome to 2025. 2024 was an amazing year and I know 2025 is going to be even better. As you can see, we don't have a new episode this week. Just like last year, we did a little recap video. We gave you a little sneak peek on what to expect for 2025. So that's basically what I'm doing right now. But for you loyal listeners listening to this short episode, I want to do something special for you to welcome in the new year. So you can head to our website, keepitaloha.com, and I'm going to give you a code for 25% off for 2025. Well, I guess for a week, but to celebrate 2025. So if you want some Keep It Aloha merch like this, any of our tote bags, our stickers, we will probably have some merch that we'll release in the next couple months. But for now, go check out the merch that we already have. I would really appreciate the support. You know, we're an independent podcast and all the funds go to supporting us and helping us run this place. I want to give a shout out to our new sponsor, Kolea Hop Water. As you can see, I'm decked out in Kolea right now. They're a new brand, kind of like a spin-off of Kona Brew, but in a non-alcoholic version of it. So there's zero alcohol, 0 calories, 0 carbs. And for me, someone who doesn't drink and somebody who likes to fast, I usually drink water, shaka tea, and now I can still continue to fast and enjoy good drinks with 0 calories, 0 sugar, all the stuff that I love. So they're in perfect alignment with what I believe in, and I'm so stoked to have them as the official sponsor, drink sponsor of the Keep It Aloha podcast. Today, as you're listening to this, is January 2nd, which is also my dad's birthday. So I want to give a shout out and say hau'oli lahanau to my dad, Mike. Aloha nui voia oi. If you see him in Hilo or if he ever comes up to Oahu, make sure you give him a big hug, give him a nice handshake because he's the man that made me who I am today, along with the rest of my parents. So shout out to him. I also want to get into a little recap of our year on Spotify. You know how every year they got like a little Spotify rap stuff? So we get one for our podcast as a creator, and I want to share that with you all to show you how awesome we did and just how much I appreciate you all. And the statistics that I see, they are a reflection of the listeners and the people supporting this podcast. So huge mahalo to you all, our sponsors, Texaco. We're no longer with Texaco, but we super appreciate them for helping us get to where we are today. I also want to give a shout out to Kualoa Ranch. They've been a little secret sponsor to us for the last couple months. And also, Shaka Tea for providing drinks and giving us a full bladder for our shishi breaks. But I don't know if you guys saw, they are starting to wind down and they're going to go out of business in the next couple months. So we still have Shaka Tea here at our studio. I got some at my house and they've just been a huge supporter and I've been a huge supporter of them. So yeah, super sad about Shaka Tea, but they'll live on in our hearts. But let's get into the Spotify Wrapped. All right, so this is the Spotify Wrapped for 2025. I'm gonna pull up some pictures because I screenshotted them. So and here, let's start at this one. So for 2024, Keep It Aloha podcast. This is just on Spotify. We have a bunch of analytics on Apple Podcasts, our social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. For that, we got over 30 million views in this past year just from the social media clips, the medium clips that we post on YouTube, and the full episode. So everything combined, we got about 30 million views. So that's amazing. I love you guys so much. The support is always appreciated. So for the Spotify, Keep It Aloha, we got a 60% follower growth. We have an average rating of 4.9, so about 5 stars if you round up. And our top country is the United States, of course. But we have been listened to in 60 countries altogether. So that's pretty amazing, all the way from New Zealand to I think even a place in Africa. So I really appreciate all of our listeners all over the world. And for our top fans, so these are people who have us as their number one podcast, all on Spotify. We got 1,740 people listening to Keep It Low podcast that have us as your top podcast this year. That's amazing. I never thought we'd get to this point. If you asked me, a couple years ago what I'd be doing, I never would say, "Oh, I'm gonna be a podcaster." I could just kind of fell into this, and I love what I do. I love that I get to talk stories with people that come on this podcast, share their stories, and dive into some really good topics. So this is just a reflection, like I said, of everybody listening to this podcast. Our average listener bracket, that was let's see, 35 to 44. That's the biggest range we have of people listening. So if you're listening to this and you're 35 to 44, that's 30% of you. Our lowest is 55 and up. That's 7% of our listeners. Youngest, 18 to 24, that's 9% of our listeners. 25 to 29-year-olds, that's 19% of our listeners. 30 to 34, that's 21% of our listeners. And 45 to 54, that's 14% of our listeners. So if you're listening to this and you're in one of those age demographics, shout out to you. It also shows what our listeners also loved, and they are listening to the Joe Rogan Experience, Armchair Expert with Dak Shepard, and Caller Daddy. So it's nice to know that we're kind of in that range of the Joe Rogans, the Caller Daddies, and Armchair Expert, because that's kind of what I try to be here in Hawaii, is like a little Joe Rogan of Hawaii, where we talk with anybody about anything. We talk about hard topics, we talk about fun things, all everything included. We try to be as inclusive as possible. And this year we had a lot of guests that talked about some pretty good topics, just like this guy, everybody's favorite episode, Keanu Sai, Dr. Keanu Sai, episode 136 was our top episode. The Hawaiian Kingdom sovereignty and 131 years of illegally occupied. I think that's the name of the episode. But yeah, Dr. Keanu Sai's episode was super popular. You guys loved that. I go out in public and I have people come up to me saying that that was their favorite episode. They learned so much. It was such a mind-blowing episode. So we'll definitely try to, get more guests like that. I would see our podcast like, if we were comparing it to Joe Rogan's podcast, where he has the MMA episodes, but he still talks about he talks to a lot of other guests. So the MMA episodes of Joe Rogan, which is like a staple for him, that's like our really Kanak sovereign episodes where we talk about Hawaiian issues. We get people like Keanu Sai, Cal Neesmith. Those would be like the MMA version. And all the other episodes are just like normal guests. It could be, politicians, athletes. It could be, what else do we have? Musicians, stuff like that. But yeah, I like to try to be as diverse as possible. So that's why I like to get a bunch of different guests. The most commented episode was Dr. Keanu Sai Part 2, which is episode 140. That was about international law, sovereignty, and a lot more other Hawaiian stuff. And our show, Keep It Low Podcast, which I'm super proud of, and again, I want to mahalo you guys. It's in the top 1% of videos on Spotify. So just to be in the top 1% of anything is really amazing. Hopefully one day I'm in the top 1% financially and can have a very good life living here in Hawaii. So with your support and, everybody listening to the podcast, our sponsors, the way my career is going, hopefully that happens one day. But that's pretty much it. We also got 65% more listeners this year compared to last year. So that's also a good number. But yeah, that's basically Spotify Wrapped for 2025. Mahalo, everybody, for the support. I probably said mahalo so much in this episode because, we're in 2025 now, and I can't help but think of all the people that I'm grateful for and just the position that I'm in today and how blessed I feel to be able to do this. I want to go over a little recap of 2024 and just let you know what happened if, you missed some things. Maybe you're new and you haven't listened to all the episodes or been keeping up with us. Obviously, the biggest thing I think in 2024 was I had a really down year for my body. I had to get knee surgery. I don't know if you guys can see on the camera. I'm trying to move a little bit. Still in my knee brace, still doing physical therapy. I have a condition that I was born with called bipartite patella, where my kneecap didn't fuse as a kid. So usually it's asymptomatic and you can live with it It bothered me a little bit when I was a kid growing up, but then I got used to living with it. And over the last year, I, did marathon. I was playing soccer, working out religiously at F45, surfing, doing all the things and putting a lot of stress on my body. So it got really bad towards beginning of 2024, and I couldn't even run at all. It was so sore just putting any pressure on it, bending down. So I started to look into that, seeing what I can do to fix it. I was seeing specialists. I was doing acupuncture, neural reset therapy, anything I could do. And then eventually I got an MRI and I saw a knee specialist, Dr. Crawford, and he told me my options were to take out the knee, that the part of the kneecap that wasn't fused, or put two screws in it to try to fuse my kneecap. So right now they have two screws inside of my kneecap and they're trying to fuse the bone together. So I actually have a follow up in a couple of days, and we'll see how close that kneecap is getting to fuse after we take an X-ray. So wish me luck on that. I also had shoulder surgery for a torn rotator cuff and labrum, and I had some bone spurs that was cutting into my rotator cuff. So my rotator cuff was hanging on by just a thread, but that's why my shoulder has been sore for the last, I don't know, 10 plus years. I've been, again, living with these injuries and I just didn't take care of it. But since I was gonna, do my knee, I went to check my other ailments on my body and I found out I had these tears. So I also got surgery a couple months ago, and that's, still not 100%. I got most of my range back, but still can't surf or do other things. One challenge that I'm trying to do in 2025 is just get healthy and get into super good shape again. Right now, I'm probably hanging out around 205, 210 pounds. When I stopped working out, I was at 173 pounds with only 10% of body fat. And as you guys can see, if you watch these videos and you see the clips, that I, put a little weight on. So I think I put on 30 something pounds and I'm at 25% body fat. My goal for that was basically to gain as much weight as possible, since I won't be able to do anything, and see how much I can lose after I'm healthy. I don't know if you ever saw the show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. This guy, Mac, one of the characters, Rob McElroy or whatever his name is, he's a funny character, or a great actor. He gains like so much weight in real life in one season. So he's this fat Matt character throughout the season, and then the next season he comes back and he's super ripped and just in great shape. So that's basically my goal. Secretly, I've been trying to put on as much weight as possible and accumulate mass. And now my goal is to get healthy and see how much I can lose and how great shape I can get. So that's going to be a fun challenge. But speaking of 2024, we spent our first full year here in the studio. Shout out to Jordan at the Kind Media for getting this spot. We had some upgrades. We got a little mural. I think we're working on a new one for 2025 as well. Shout out to Kaylin. Go support her. Art by Sachiko. We let's see what else we did. Oh, I had my first full year with my beautiful girlfriend Faith. I love you, Faith. We moved in together. We live in an apartment in town that's not too far from the studio, so I don't have to go far just to be here. And I love the convenience of living in town. Uh, I stopped working out at F45, but I did, before I stopped working out completely, I got first place in one of these playoff challenges that they got. So I'm excited to, be working out again and see how well I can do with a healthy body. And I want to shout out the Forge. That's my physical therapy place. Jimmy and Mako over there taking care of me. I'm doing the best I can to get healthy, and they're giving me all the tools and resources for me to do that. So shout out to them. If you're somebody that's going through an injury, or you're an athlete and you just want to continue to strengthen your body and prevent injuries like mine, definitely check them out. They are great. It's pretty much like an Ohana over there. Every time I go there, it's like I'm just talking to some friends, and I've been going there for, I don't know, close to a year, maybe a little less than a year, and I truly feel like I'm part of their Ohana. Same with the F45 community, F45 Ala. So if you're listening to this, you live on Oahu and you want to come work out with me, maybe in a couple months we can be working out at F45 Ala. They got a 1 week free trial, so if you can just try it out, come in, no shame, see if you like it. I tried my first free week, like, I don't know, two years ago, over a year and a half ago, and I loved it. I was hooked ever since, so that's why I'm always there. Some of the highlights in 2024 was our first podcast, a live podcast at the Blue Note. We had McKenna Maduli, past podcast guest, and Marcela Resentes, the infamous Marcela Resentes. You can check out that episode 114, if you want to watch the live show. That was such a fun I don't know, event and episode. We got some great clips from that as well. We'll definitely do another live show. I don't know when yet. I'm trying to focus on my knee and the recovery first, and then maybe I don't know, a couple of months from now we'll do another live show, and we'll plan to do one, at least one, every single year. I gotta find a guest for that first. Let me know if you have any suggestions. Another big milestone for us in 2024, we had our first, or I guess, inaugural podcast party where we invite all the past podcast guests, and we just have a little get together and we invite some sponsors, talk stories, hang out, give away prizes. Our first one was at Salt Kakako. Shout out to Six Pillars Marketing for helping us coordinate that. Shout out to my good friend Lincoln Jacoby for helping me set that whole thing up. We're gonna have our second annual one, or I guess first annual. I always get confused with the inaugural, first annual, second annual. I don't know, but we're gonna have our second podcast party at a location that I'm not gonna say yet. And hopefully, if you're listening to this and you're, I don't know, you want to be somebody big, or you're looking to do something really great for our community, and you're hoping one day you can be on this podcast. I hope if you're listening to this, you just continue to work hard and do good for others. And your story, if you have an amazing story and you're a good person, I'm sure that our paths will cross one day. Maybe you'll be on this podcast, maybe you'll be at our podcast party with all the past podcast guests, and maybe that's something that we can manifest in 2025 for you, if you're listening to this and you have a career that you want to, grow your platform and share your story with a bigger audience. And hopefully we can do that for you, just like we have for other people on this guest, on our podcast. People like Keanu Sai, who gets recognized every time he travels, or people like Cal Neesmith, who aren't on social media, but now they get recognized everywhere. Also, this is not even part of our sponsors, or it's not even on my notes. I saw the premiere of the Cirque du Soleil, or however you say it, here in Waikiki, the Awana. That was amazing. Our past podcast guest, Cal Neesmith, he does the Hawaiian narration, and he created the songs for that show. So please, if you're on Oahu, if you're staying in Waikiki, go check it out. It's so amazing how they incorporate the Hawaiian culture into these really cool variety acts. I felt like I was watching like America's Got Talent in person, mixed with a very traditional Hawaiian lens on it. So yeah, I can't speak highly enough of that show. I'll definitely go and try to watch it again. So if you have the chance, please go check it out. Also for 2024, let's see. I got a virtual assistant. I got some help with all of this, because basically, everything you see with the clips, with scheduling the guests, that's just me and Jordan doing everything. So having an assistant really helps with like the small stuff, like emailing, reaching out to people. We've already sent some invites to some big guests. Hopefully we'll get them on one day. Speaking of big guests, I met Nicole Scherzinger last year. We had dinner for this event and got to talk stories with her. Super nice, down to earth. She'll definitely come on at some point. I don't know if it's this year. I know she's on Broadway right now, so this depends on her schedule. But that's definitely one of my dream guests. I have a list of dream guests that include like The Rock, Jason Momoa, Max Holloway, Nicole Scherzinger, people like that, Barack Obama. So hopefully one day we'll get them. Right now I'm just filling up my 2025 guest list. I have like an Excel sheet of about 100 guests that I want to get on, and I kind of, reach out to them, see what their schedule is. I look on Instagram, try to reach out to them. I get a bunch of suggestions. I don't really take many suggestions, or if any, but yeah, if you guys want to suggest anybody, our loyal fans, just comment on our YouTube video, comment on the Spotify video. Maybe I'll check it out. And if it's somebody that I don't know, maybe I'll look into them. If it's somebody that's already on my list, maybe I'll try to reach out to them sooner. But yeah, I think it's going to be a great 2025, because 2024 was already so good. If you're still listening to me at this point, I know this isn't our traditional episode. I'm kind of just talking stories with you right now, just me and you, intimate in this lighting with my Kolea hot water. I want to give you a little sneak peek of what to expect in 2025. So, right now, we are planning a trip to Japan. We got the flights booked and we're going in a couple of days. I think maybe just a week from the date this episode premieres. And we're gonna be doing a podcast with famous sumo wrestler Konishiki. We're gonna go and meet him. We're gonna check out the sumo tournament. We're planning to go at this time because it's the opening of the sumo tournament in Japan. So I'm gonna go with Jordan, my girlfriend, my sister. We're gonna have a great time, and it's gonna be our first international podcast, which is crazy. Like I said in the beginning of this episode, I didn't expect me to be in this position at all, yet alone be going to Japan to do podcast episodes. The goal of 2025 is to travel more and do podcasts on other islands because there's a lot of guests outside of Oahu and Big Island that I would love to talk stories to. Right now, we pretty much just focus on anybody on Oahu because I live here, and Big Island because I go home for the holidays and I try to do an episode here and there. But there's people on Maui, there's people on Kauai, there's people in Las Vegas that I want to talk stories with. Want to go to maybe New York and even check out other places in Polynesia, and just try to keep connecting and sharing stories of other cultures that's not just Hawaii. So that's the goal of 2025. Like I said, we're going to be doing another live show at some point. We got some new sponsors coming up. We got Kolea, as I said, what, 3, 4 times this episode. A little bit overkill, but I appreciate them, and I'm really excited for you guys to try because it's a really good drink. And they got some new flavors coming out that I was told that's gonna be releasing. I don't know when, but I heard those flavors are super good, and I can't wait to try them. Um, One of the other sponsors and one of the fun things that we'll be doing for the entire year is giving away tickets to the Hawaii Theater. So Hawaii Theater is coming on as a sponsor for this podcast, and every other week, twice a month, we're gonna be giving away tickets to shows at the Hawaii Theater. So if you're on Oahu, or maybe you're listening from a different island, or maybe somewhere in the continent, maybe you'll win some tickets if you listen to this. I'll tell you more on future episodes how to win it, but basically, there's going to be a way for you to enter, and then I'm going to announce the winner on certain episodes or maybe on social media. And yeah, you're going to get to see people, like comedians, musicians. I don't know what else they have to offer, but I know they have really amazing shows, and I love the Hawaii Theater. They do great things. Last time I was there was for a Miss Hawaii competition. I haven't seen any shows recently over there, but I'm excited that we get to gift you all something. I feel like no matter what I do to give back, it will never be enough or never make up for all the things that I've gotten in my life. But anytime that I can give back and share aloha, I always try to do that. So that's what we're gonna be doing in 2025. Tours, giveaways. Maybe we'll do some giveaways with Kualoa, more outdoor episodes as well. We did an episode at Kualoa to, a couple episodes before the last episode of 2024, and that was super amazing. So we're just gonna keep trying to do new creative things with the podcast, keep finding amazing stories to share with you, continue to spread aloha, keep it aloha, and take care of my body so that I can keep doing this as long as possible. I think that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. I just want to say mahalo to our sponsors, mahalo to you for listening to this, everyone on social media, my ohana, my family, my friends, my beautiful girlfriend Faith. She's been taking care of me with my injuries, so she's been going full nurse for the last couple months. So, shout out to her if you see her. Make sure you say, give her a big thank you for me. She's right over there. Anyways, like I said, I think that's pretty much everything we got today. If you want to suggest any guests, leave some in the comments. If you haven't already, go leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Those things help us a whole lot. We're still actually looking for a title sponsor for 2025. So, hope maybe by the time this comes out, we have somebody, maybe not. But if you know anybody, or if you're listening to this and you're interested, you want to know our rates, just send us an email at kamaka@keepitaloha.com. Reach out to us on Instagram. And yeah, we'll see if we can work together. We have a lot of exciting things that I also didn't even mention on this episode that I'll mention on future episodes. But for now, I'm just wishing you all a great 2025. whatever you hope to accomplish, I hope you accomplish it. Let me know if I can help you in any way. I'm always happy to help and help this community out. I love Hawaii so much. I love our people. I love everything we stand for. I love the culture. And I just hope to continue to be a light in this community for you all. And I hope that we can continue to grow together. So, that's pretty much it. I think I usually end this with mahalo to our guests for listening or for coming on the podcast. So mahalo for listening to us. We have new episodes every Thursday, so make sure you follow us and leave a review. Spread love, be kind to one. Let me try that again. I usually have it's mahalo, listener, whatever your name is, for coming on the Keep It Aloha podcast today. Spread love, be kind to one another, and mahalo for listening to us today. We have new episodes every Thursday, so make sure you follow us and leave a review. I'm your host, Kamaka, and remember to always, always, always keep it aloha.